Expecto Patronum!
Sorry?
Expelliarmus!
Are you trying to use Harry Potter spells on me?
Harry Potter? No. This is a famous book of spells!
Nah, that's Harry Potter, mate.
No, so what?
Come on, you want real witchcraft? You should take a look at Icelandic Runes Staves.
Icelandic runic what?
I will give a couple of examples about rune staves to our friends back home.
Alright.
Hello friends, my name is Ari Theriger and today I'm going to talk about the Icelandic Rune Staves. So the other day I have given you a video about the Rune Staves and I've given you an historical introduction and what the Rune Staves are, what they were used for, and I'll leave a link down below in the description so you might watch that video. So today I'm going to talk about the Icelandic Rune Staves. I will show you the symbols, the charms, their names, what they are used for, and well, I will not delve too much on the information of each symbol. In the future I will make a video for each symbol, a sort of advanced classes for Icelandic Rune Staves. So today I'm going to give you just an introduction to the symbols, a sort of Icelandic Rune Staves for beginners. I hope you enjoy it and well, let's get started. I forgot to tell you, please turn on the subtitles. There will be a lot of strange terms in this video. Alright, let's start with one of the most famous rune staves, the Algishjalmur. This is one of those symbols I would like to make a video just about it, because there is a lot we can tell. But this is a little introduction to the symbols, so let's keep it simple. This one is often translated to Helm of Hall. Its basic form was that of a 4 or 8-fold equal-armed cross, with branches at its terminals. The Algishjalmur is mentioned in the saga of Sigurd, when Sigurd slays the great serpent Fafnir in order to win the treasure hoard of the Niflungs. One of the objects of power he gets is the Algishjalmur. It's something ethereal, not a helmet in its usual sense, but something that surrounds the wearer with a tremendous power to terrify and subdue one's enemies. The power is concentrated between the eyes and it is often associated with the power of serpents to paralyze their prey, not a concept exclusively from Northern Europe, but an ancient Indo-European concept. So basically this is also used as a symbol of protection, and after Christianity was introduced in Iceland, this magical sign was also named Solomon's insignia. This one is called Uni, and it seems to be a combination of the most basic and simplified forms of the Algishjalmur, as shown previously and right here again. It is said to be used so a woman might love a man. However, the most basic forms of the Algishjalmur of a 4 equal-armed cross is only mentioned as to win a girl's love. It's used while fasting and the symbol is drawn with one's spittle in the palm of the hand when the person greets the girl whom he desires to have, and it should be the right hand. This one is called Röðingaldur, simply to put fear on an enemy. If you want your enemy to be afraid of you when he sees you, then carve these staves on a piece of shrub oak and wear it in the middle of your chest, and make sure that you see your enemy before your enemy sees you. It is interesting to notice this detail of carving the symbol on oak. Trees have always been considered to be magical in nature or having magical properties, and the oak in Norse witchcraft is associated with the power of the Thor's rune or Thurisas, and obviously with the god Thor. And in here it seems to act as a terrifying apotropaic talisman, or in other words, to ward off harm or evil influences. This one looks like someone was learning how to write. These rune staves are to play a sick joke on someone so the person can't hold food down all day. Carving these staves on cheese or fish and have the one eat it whom you wish to make a sport of, and whatever the person eats that day will be of no use to the person. These 16 staves seem to be all highly stylized runic symbols arranged in 2 rows of hate. Their full meaning has yet to be decoded, maybe because they also seem a mixture of Celtic alphabet, which wouldn't be surprising since the Norwegian settlers took their Celtic slaves into Iceland and there was probably a mixture between the 2 traditional witchcraft realities. Well, this is just great. Speaking of learning how to write, learning how to make rune staves probably goes through this simple geometrical process. Anyway, this one is a tricky one, and it's to hinder a person from coming to your house. If you wish that someone in particular would not come to your house, property or an area you own, carve this stave on rowan wood when the sun is at its zenith, and walk 3 times with the sun and 3 times on the contrary direction of the sun around the area, while holding onto the rowan stick on which the stave was carved and onto some sharp spin-torn grass, a thistle, and then put both of them up over your door in the middle. Again, the magical properties of a tree, rowan wood, is thought to have a life-giving power and to be able to control other worldly things. It is also used in a contrary sense as a bringer of death. The use here is to protect the house from evil entities or to terrify those who would come uninvited. The thistle is an herbal correspondence to the Feu rune, very much connected with bringer of life, so in a way the combination of the herb and the rowan wood is to create or imbue power by mixing opposite polarities. Who knows, these things are never clear. Threith rune, to kill another's livestock. One should write these staves on a leaf and cast it into the person's horse's hoofprint. Then some of his livestock will die. Surprisingly, this one is the least cruel rune stave around. At least the person is not trying to kill the other in a gruesome and terrible way, but it's killing innocent beings. In Iceland, livestock was the source of wealth for farmers, that which gave them sustenance and money, so losing livestock really was a blow in the stomach, leading people to despair and poverty. Tjörfastafur, to use against thieves. This kind of rune staves are the ones you will find the most. To find a thief, to use against a thief, to discover a thief. These are just a few examples, and it's understandable the great amount of rune staves against thieves. These rune staves probably appeared when Iceland went through a troublesome economic period when they ceased to trade with mainland Europe, and probably at the beginning of the 12th century, a time of civil strife. Old patterns of feuding, exacting of blood vengeance, and the like began to emerge again. There was a great economical crisis and people would start to steal from each other and, well, with the previous rune stave to kill livestock and end people's wealth, more reasons to steal. Well, this one can be literally called Od stille hølleridi, to calm all hunger, or to end strife. Yes, as we have seen, there were troublesome periods in Iceland. In order to calm all hunger, make this stave on your forehead with the index finger of your left hand and say, "It is the helm of Ho which I bear between my eyes. Let the hunger melt, let the strife stop. May every man rejoice in me as Mary rejoiced in her blessed Son when she found him on the Victory Rock. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit." I picked this one on purpose so you can understand what I've spoken in the previous video about the historical background of the rune staves, the Christian influence not only on the symbols, but also on the invocations made when calling upon the power of the symbols. By the end of this very Christian invocation, you should also read thus: Hulver Huldin Hili, everything may your will bewilder. May God himself with mastery send love between us. This threefold Odinic invocation includes the name of Odin beside Hil, the evil one, which may have been an old name for Odin since he was called Bulverka, evil worker, and was also called the father of all evil. And unlike you might think that he was associated with evil due to Christianity, this association with evil was made during pagan times, because Odin in his essence wasn't a good god, nor a god of wisdom and the All-Father, but a god of war and death. Now let's talk about rune staves much older than the ones presented previously, with less Christian influences and much more geometrical and highly complex. Galdrahol, or Hole of Magical Incantations, which was carved on the skin of a water rail, which is a bird. It's unclear the use of this rune stave, probably protection or concealment of something. Galdraltolskip. It was used to ruin ships. In Scandinavian societies, ships were not only a means of transportation, but also for trading goods. At a certain point, Scandinavian societies highly depended upon naval trading routes. The soils in Scandinavia are hard to cultivate, but surprisingly the majority of Scandinavians were farmers. But during the Viking Age they became seafarers and explorers, coming in contact with so many different cultures and bringing back home all manner of goods. The Norse became traders and their lives depended on buying and selling goods rather than cultivating the soils or herding cattle. So staves to ruin ships have exactly the same purpose as the ones to kill cattle. The objective was to hit hard on another's property and source of wealth. Which leads to the rune stave, or let's call them Galdrastafir or Galdramindir, these are the proper terms for rune staves, and this one is called Kaupaloki. You will most likely find it in this shape, or like this, or even like this. It's a rune stave to prosper in trade and business. One should cut this sign on a stave of beechwood and wear it in the middle of one's breast for success and victory at buying and selling. The name of this stave, Kaupaloki, consists of the word for buying or making business deals, which is kaupa, and loki, derived from loka, to lock, shut, and so it literally means deal closer. Interesting enough, this might indicate the origins of the god Loki, not a god of trickery and mischief, but a god whose chief function was the role of closing or concluding a cycle of existence. And coming to an end with this video. Don't worry, there are loads of rune staves and I will probably make another video with the rest. So let's end this with Draumastafir and the Draumastafur. This sign must be made on St. John's night. St. John's Eve is at the 23rd of June, so this is probably referring to the night of the 24th of June, the feast of St. John, which closely coincides with the summer solstice, also referred to as midsummer. So during this night you carve this sign on silver or on white leather. And if anyone sleeps on it, the person will dream what the person wants. The same principle goes for these other rune staves. Carving the staves on firwood and sleep upon it makes you dream what you want. And this one right here, you carve the symbol on oak, but you place it on someone else's pillow or whatever place this person will lay its head on, and the person will have dreams according to your will. Pretty cool, huh? And since I'm about to say goodbye and ending this video on rune staves to make people sleep, I'm sure you are already feeling sleepy after all this information I've been giving, here you have a rune stave to make someone go to sleep. If you want to lull a person to sleep, then carve these staves on holderwood and put it under the person's head, and the person will certainly sleep until you take it away. Don't forget to take it away, or you might let the person dream for weeks, which I'm sure for some people would be great. I myself need an entire season sleeping. Anyway, again, a type of wood, alder, is often associated with fire and wakefulness, and it corresponds to the Swelo rune. Again, we see here the use of innate polarity to evoke the opposite effect. Alright friends, thank you so much for watching, and don't worry, I will make another video about the rest of the rune staves. if you liked this one, of course. Even if you didn't, I will make it anyway. So, thank you so much for watching. See you on the next video. All the links to my social media are down below at the description. And, as always, tack för idag!